Sup guys, it's Rifftic, and in this video, we're going over how to counter Grapple in Tower of Fantasy PvP. So whether you're watching this video before or after the rework, everything that I'm going to go over still applies, so nothing to worry about there. For those of you who don't know, in patch 1.5, Grapple is getting changed from instead of knocking up opponents, it's going to knock them down. This is just going to get rid of a lot of bugs and make it more consistent. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So how do you counter Grapple? To answer that question, I have compiled a list here of the best abilities and relics in the current meta to counter Grapple. So I've split the abilities list into two parts. Number one, the best counters, and number two, what I like to call Iframe CC immunity. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Starting off at the top, the number one best counter to Grapple is Marshal. Because of her spin, which is spammable by the way, there is no reason for you to get grappled while you're using Marshal. First of all, her shield, very broken, should be using this all the time. It has a 20-second cooldown and a 10-second uptime, which means you have the shield 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off. You have it for half of the game, and while you have the shield, you are not able to be CC'd, and this includes Grapple. So right off the bat, Marshal, half the game, you cannot be grappled. Number two, spin. It's completely spammable. You can use this every time somebody jumps up in the air, they're getting ready to grapple you, you just immediately start spinning, it shuts them down, you waste one of their grapple charges. Marshal is the best counter to Grapple. I also put Coco up here because of her skill and discharge. The reason being, both her skill and discharge, they have very long durations in which you can't be grappled, or CC'd for that matter. So they do have long cooldowns, but she is still a very good counter. Next, I want to go and talk about Iframe CC immunity. So for those of you who don't know, an iframe it stands for invincibility frame. That's where you can't take any damage, no CC, nothing happens to you. There is currently only one true iframe in the game, and that is Frigg's skill. While you are using this skill, it looks like this. While you're in the animation of doing all those slashes, you can't be damaged, you can't be, nothing can be done to you, including things like Marshal discharge, so you can use it to completely get out of things like that. But this specifically is Iframe CC immunity, so the rest of these besides Frig's skill, you can use to effectively be immune to CC. You will still take damage, but you will negate any sort of CC, including grapple, knockups, or knockdowns. So all of these are very good. An example of this that I can show you guys is Nemesis skill. While she casts this ability, so you're going to see the blue shield, or the purple shield, excuse me, while she's casting that, you will not be able to get knocked up. So you can use that if you time it correctly to essentially waste one of their grapple charges. So the only one on this list that I'm actually not certain about is Crow, and that's because I don't own Crow. So if any Crow users can verify in the comments, that would be greatly appreciated. I think it's probably going to be his skill and discharge that make him immune, just like the rest of these. It would be very strange if he was the only one who didn't have this, but regardless, let me know. Next thing I want to go over is the relics that will be good counters. Number one, Magnetic Pulse. You guys already know at this point, but I'll explain it really quickly. 5 seconds, CC immunity, get out of grapples free. This is a very, very good one to run. Next, Colossus Arms. While you have the arms, you are also hit stun immune, so you won't get knocked up or knocked down. And then the final two that I put on this list, they had come with a very big disclaimer. Kuant and Confinement. You will still get knocked up or knocked down, even if you have these enabled. But the reason I put them on this list is because if you time it correctly, you can stun the other player long enough for you to get away. So like Kuant, if you activate it within 1 second of getting grappled, it'll stun them, you can get away. Same with Confinement, you'll spawn the giant confinement field around you and it will stun them as they grapple to you. So that's about it for the counters. Really quickly, I want to give a couple tips for Grapple users. And the first one is learn the counters, because a lot of people go into PvP and they try and grapple and they're not knocking up or knocking down their opponents and they're like, what's going on? Grapple's so buggy, I hate Grapple. And I would say probably 8 out of 10 times it's because of one of these counters are being used. So make sure you know your counters before you use Grapple. The second tip that I have for Grapple users that not a lot of people know about is that you can actually cancel your grapple mid-air, like mid-grapple. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Basically, all it takes is one single left click. So I'll just show you right now. You grapple, left click. You cancel it. You can run away. If they start Marshal spinning, for example, you just cancel it immediately. Cancel. That's all it takes. You do waste a charge for this, so keep that in mind, but that's just one little tip I wanted to show you guys. So with that, let's go into some gameplay so I can show you guys how I personally counter grapple users. So in this game, as you can see, I'm running Kuant, Magnetic, and Marshal. So those are the main 3 things I'm going to be using to counter this grapple user. Now, right off the bat, I don't know if he has grapple, so I'm running up, being very careful, ready to switch to Marshal. I see the grapple, I switch to Marshal, start slashing immediately. He's smart about it, and he uses that cancel that we talked about earlier, so he doesn't take any damage from my slashes, so that was good on his part. The rest of this beginning part is a little bit slow, so I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit here to this part. I run away from his Marshal spin. Right here, I have discharge. He grapples me. I pre-discharge and managed to hit him with it. That was a good chance for him to use the cancel, but he didn't, and because of it, he pays severely. So right there, I'm able to get him down to half health. I Marshal skill so I can get out of his knockup. I magnetic pulse so I can get out of his knockup or knockdown. It's basically about cycling through your different forms of anti-CC to completely shut down these grapple users. If you know how to do it properly, you will not get knocked up or knocked down a single time. It's very possible to outplay this. Right there, he jumps up, immediately I'm Marshal spinning. Look, he's standing there, he doesn't even know what to do. Because of that, I'm able to get out of his Marshal discharge. His combo is ruined. He does manage to get the knock up there. I think because my Marshal was on cooldown or I wasn't fast enough. I thought he was jumping up to grapple me there, and I started slashing, but it worked out anyway because I got the freeze. I'll speed it up just a little bit here. This beginning part. Basically, he kind of pokes me down low, and then I think he gets the kill on me, but I come back afterward. Run away from that. Yeah, he's just slowly poking me down. I'm trying to do just as much damage as I can so that I come back and I'm able to take him out. Alright, I'll slow it down here. So right here, right there, I really want to highlight this. Because this is a common, very, very common mistake that a lot of grapple users do. Right here, I see him running. He jumps outside of the arena. There is zero reason why anyone should ever do this. I know he's going to turn around and try and grapple me. I know that for a fact. So right here, I switch to Marshal. I start spinning. He grapples right into my Marshal spin. That's exactly what I want. And it's actually because of that mistake, I take this trade, and it's because of that mistake that I'm able to win the game. Make sure you're not doing that if you use grapple. It's a very bad habit to get into. And there I frig skill him and end up taking him out. So I hope this explained some things to you guys about how to counter grapple or use it. As always, if this helped, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.